it's still sinking in. Liam Payne, gone at just 31. I know for a lot of you, One Direction's music was like the soundtrack to your teenage years.
Right.
Mine too. And to have it end like this, it's just...
Yeah, heartbreaking.
It really is. And unfortunately, it throws this harsh spotlight on the intense pressure so many young stars face,
Yeah, we're talking 70 million albums, sold out stadiums worldwide, like a level of fame that's almost unimaginable.
Yeah.
How do you even begin to process that kind of pressure, especially at such a young age?
Yeah, and that's the key here. The age, we often see these young stars kind of thrust into the spotlight, and it's easy to forget they're still developing, still figuring out who they are. Add in the manufactured aspect of many boy bands where image and mass appeal are paramount.
Yeah.
It creates this perfect storm for mental health struggles. It's like they're living in a pressure cooker and there's no release valve. I keep thinking about this interview Liam did with The Independent, where he describes feeling trapped by the constant attention, saying, we couldn't go anywhere. It was just gig to hotel, and you couldn't sleep because they'd still be outside.
And that's exactly what I mean about a pressure cooker, that lack of control, that inability to escape the spotlight. Even for a moment, it can be incredibly isolating and anxiety-inducing, especially for someone so young. It's almost a recipe for developing unhealthy coping mechanisms just to survive. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You just gotta, it's gotta be tough. And that's kind of where, sadly, we often see these stories take a darker turn.
Yeah.
The pressure to maintain this perfect facade, while grappling with these internal struggles can be immense.
And Liam was so open about those struggles even before his death. It's almost as if he was sending up flares trying to signal for help.
Yeah, trying to say, hey, I'm over here.
Pay attention to this.
Yeah.
It's chilling listening to his 2021 interview on the Diary of a CEO podcast, Knowing What We Know Now. He talks about his time in One Direction, the relentless schedule, the pressure, and how alcohol became his way to cope his escape from the intensity of it all. He even mentions the minibar in his hotel room, almost like it was a lifeline at the time.
Yeah, it's a tragic reminder of the hidden costs of fame. Here's this young man living what appears to be like a dream life,
right?
Yet struggling to keep his head above water. And it speaks to a much larger issue, this pressure to project an image of success, even when everything feels like it's falling apart.
And it wasn't just that one interview. In 2019, he spoke publicly about his journey to Alcoholics Anonymous, crediting Russell Brand with helping him find his way there. That same year, he participated in the documentary Aunt Middleton and Liam Payne, Straight Talking, where he talks candidly about the loneliness he felt, even amidst the crowds and the adoration, the toll that fame had taken on him mentally and emotionally.
Which brings us, unfortunately, to the circumstances surrounding his death. While we need to be careful about speculation, especially with the investigation still ongoing, those reports of erratic behavior in the days leading up to his death are incredibly concerning.
It's hard not to be shaken by those details. In the CNN article, the police statement, mentioning reports of an aggressive man at the hotel, the urgency in the hotel manager's voice during that 911 call expressing concern for Liam's safety, it paints a picture of someone deeply troubled. Someone who might have been crying out for help in those final moments.
It really is, and it's so easy to feel that sense of helplessness,
Yeah.
Wondering if anything could have been done, if there were signs we missed.
Exactly, and it's almost impossible not to pore over every interview, every lyric, every social media post, in hindsight, searching for those signs. Like in his song Heart Meet Break, there's that line, every time it's heart meet break, lips meet drink, rock meet bottom to the bottom, I sink. It's chillingly prophetic, given what we know now. Did we mistake his pain for art?
Right. This is a question that haunts us, isn't it? Should we try to separate the artist from the art, It's complicated. Music is often an outlet, a way for artists to express the things that they can't say out loud. But it also makes you wonder about the weight of carrying those emotions, especially when you're struggling to cope in healthy ways.
Yeah, it's like those lyrics become a window into his internal world, a world of pain he might not have felt able to share directly. And it forces us to confront a really tough question. Could this tragedy have been prevented?
That's the question that lingers long after the headlines fade. And while there are rarely easy answers, I think Liam's story, along with so many others, really underscores this urgent need for a cultural shift, especially in the entertainment industry.
When you say cultural shift, what do you mean? What needs to change?
Well, we need to move beyond the stigma surrounding mental health, especially for young men in the public eye. We need to create environments where vulnerability is seen as a strength, where asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, but a sign of self-awareness and courage.
So moving away from this idea that they have to project this image of invincibility, of always having it all together.
Exactly, because beneath the surface of the fame and fortune are real people, with real struggles. And just like anyone else, they deserve compassion, understanding, and access to the support they need without judgment.
Liam Payne's death is a tragic reminder of the human cost of fame. A reminder that the faces we see on our screens, the voices we hear in our playlists, belong to people who experience the same vulnerabilities, the same anxieties, the same pain as anyone else. And I think it's a call to action for all of us fans, industry professionals, and everyone in between to cultivate a culture of empathy and support, to reach out to those who might be struggling, and to remember that sometimes the brightest stars are the ones burning out the fastest. Let's try to do better. Let's try to be the support system that someone like Liam, someone struggling in silence, desperately needs.